Have a look. He says no.
He's not the best at being.
Have a little look.
Come on, Goose. Come on.
He says I shall hide from you. You're just going to clamp your mouth shut. So, can you see where my finger's pointing? It's just touching
Yeah.
there. Can you see how it suddenly goes
right
fatter, the
there.
tongue?
Yes, he's got
There.
a quite big, thick tongue.
So where it goes doubly thick, that's called the grass muscle. That's the general glottis.
Oh, Goose, you're hopeless.
Oh, shall we turn it back up again?
Go on.
So, that's the bit of the tongue that moves the grass between his teeth.
Come on. You're all right.
But that can come down a little bit far into their mouths and can catch on the bit. His doesn't look to be that low though, so I don't think that's going to get in the way.
Okay.
We also need to know where his teeth are. So you've got molars at the back. Where are your molars? They're quite far back, so that's quite good. He says you're
It's
not
not
looking.
like being examined, really.
And we've
Oh,
got
Goose, come on.
canines.
Come on. Be a good boy.
We've got one there. You've got one there. So we've got canines we need to watch out for at the top. Can't feel any bony
Good boy.
spurs.
It's like taking a child to the dentist.
He says, what are you going to do to me? I
Go on.
don't trust you.
I'm trying to help.
You've got them on this side. So you've got all four canines.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a little feel on the roof of your mouth.
Try and cooperate, Goose, please.
So she's doing weird stuff. He's got quite a high palate, so that's quite good.
Right.
Let's have a look on your bars.
That's a good boy.
His bars are quite sharp. So the bars are the bit of skull, if you like, that get
Oh,
covered
yeah?
by gum between his teeth. And some horses can have quite bony bars, others have lots of gum on them and quite fleshy.
Yeah.
But if you've got quite sharp bars, if you've got a bit that uses bar pressure,
Yes.
then you're basically pushing a fleshy tongue down on something
you
that's
make
quite sharp.
you're doubling up the
and that's quite
the pressure,
unpleasant.
aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's quite unpleasant to have something that's soft and sensitive pushed down onto a sharp bone.
absolutely.
So he probably won't like bar pressure.
Okay.
And the sorts of bits that give you the most bar pressure are lozenges, because they collapse around the jaw. So you've got a lozenge, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I have. I think I have. Sorry,
So that he might not
Might
prefer,
not like that.
Yeah, he might prefer something that.
Oh, if only you could just say. If only you could just tell us.
We've got quite fleshy lips as well, haven't we? So we need to be mindful. That's quite a big fat tongue in there. Like I say, he has got quite a high palate, so. But if you look in there, there's not a tremendous amount of space, is there?
No.
I mean,
Oh,
that is
crumbs, no.
So if you think, and people generally say, oh, the thicker the tongue, the better, the thicker the bit, the more comfortable. But where are you going to put a fat bit in there?
Exactly.
So the fatter the bit in there, the more pressure you're going to cause.
Yeah.
So,
Good boy.
like I say,
He's given up now.
fortunately, he's got quite a high palate, so there is a little bit of room at the top.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of room at the side. So if you have a really fat bit, I would say to people, it's like putting a fat peg in a thin hole.
Yeah.
The reason that people
it's too
think-
much in their mouth, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, and they need to be able to seal their mouth to be able to breathe, being obligate nasal breathers.
Of course, yeah.
So if they can't shut their mouths because the bit's too big, they can't breathe properly or swallow properly. But also, I say to people think that fat bits are kinder because there's a greater surface area to distribute pressure. But when you haven't got the space, it's like trying to fit a fat peg into a little
too
hole.
much. It's just
so you
all
create
too much.
pressure. So you're
Yes.
actually better with a thinner bit.
Yes.
So anything that's like 18 mils or thicker is just
Well,
far
his
too
bit's
fat.
quite small, but it does have a lozenge
Right,
in it.
so he might find that he's just getting a bit too much bar
Yeah,
pressure.
maybe.
Because obviously a lozenge collapses
Yeah.
kind of around the
Yeah.
jaw,
It's
doesn't
only a
it?
tiny bit. Anyway, I'll show you.
So
we'll get
have
to
a
that.
look. So those are the sorts of things we're looking for. The other thing you want to be mindful of is you'll have been told the two-wrinkle rule.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's okay, I think. But of course, you
Well, the two-wrinkle rule is a total myth. It
Right.
comes from the British cavalry, of all things. Like
Oh,
a lot
right.
of our knowledge comes from the cavalry, because common folk never had horses originally, did
That's
they? It was
true.
only the military.
That's true.
So a lot of what we know comes from there, and a lot of that is not based on any sort of scientific basis.
Oh,
whatsoever.
right, okay.
So the reason we have two wrinkles in the corner of our mouths is because while they were out at some war or something in the 1800s, there was some accident. A horse's bridle came off and they had an accident, so they went, right, stop that happening again, we're going to hoik all the bits up, and everyone must have two wrinkles in the corner of their mouth. That's the sole
Oh.
reason.
Well, I never knew that.
It takes no account of the
knew
anatomy
that.
of their mouth whatsoever.
No.
So what you will much better doing, I mean, he has got space because if I stick my finger in there, I'm not hitting teeth. Some horses, you put your finger in there and you're straight onto their molars.
Yeah.
But you want to actually look at the grooves in their mouth. So you want to look, where are their teeth? And then where are the grooves? So if you can see, it's a little bit tricky on him. The roof of his mouth has got grooves in. Can you see? So ideally, you want to try and align the mouthpiece into a groove so that it sits in a groove rather than on a ridge.
Right.
And then it sits a bit more stable. And you just want to be mindful that you're not catching the canines at the front here.
Yeah.
And the molars at the back here. And of course, the grass muscle on the tongue.
Yes.
Which is in there as well. So it's far better to look at his mouth and make sure it's not hitting anything.
Yes, absolutely.
And forget wrinkles.
Yes,
and
okay.
actually, most horses prefer no wrinkles at all, or one wrinkle at most.
Right, okay.
Because this tissue is not meant to be stretched up here. And they've actually realised that that's actually, I mean, he's pulling faces now with me doing it. That's not the most comfortable thing for a horse to have the corners of their mouth pulled up.
No.
So we don't really want 2 wrinkles in the corner of our mouth.
Right.
It's not the most comfortable. So shall we have a look at what you've got?
Yes, have a look at